All right, here I'm going to show you how to process a wire using our online banking platform. So this is our landing page. You can see I have access to all my different accounts here, and this is all fake data. So anything you see here, this is just for the purposes of demonstration. So we can see all of our accounts. I'm going to go ahead, since I want to do a wire, I'm going to come to this payments tab right here, and I'm going to go to new wire transfer. Initially, it's going to ask me, who am I paying? So we'll click this, add a new recipient. If I had a template, I could go ahead and start typing that template here. I don't, so we'll just go ahead and add one from scratch. I'm going to send this to John Doe. I'm going to list an address here. I'll go ahead and put the address of Tab Bank. That's going to auto-populate for me. Select good old Utah, and we will hit next. This is all going to seem pretty familiar if you've sent wires before. It's going to ask you for the account details, so I'll go ahead and list the account number. I'm just going to use 123456789 as my account number. The routing number, I can't put a fake one in, and that's because it's actually doing validation on that routing number, right? In online banking, it's a really awesome tool. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to put Tab Bank's routing number in here. Next is the recipient's institution. So since I'm sending that wire to Tab Bank, I'll go ahead and put Tab Bank in here. Again, I'll go ahead and list our address. Now from here, I could just hit save and continue, but you can see this little caret next to intermediary institutions, and it is optional. However, depending on where you're sending wires to, some institutions don't actually have the ability to receive a wire, and they use an intermediary bank. Typically, I see this with kind of smaller community banks, so you can open this caret, expand this, and enter that intermediary option here. It's all the same instructions, routing number, the institution's name, and what have you. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and hit save and continue. And now I'm back here to the wire screen. I've got my recipient up here so we can verify that. That's exactly who I'm paying. Now, let's get the wire details in. How much money do I want to send? I will send $1,000. There we go. When do I want to send it? I want to send this out today. Now I could schedule a wire for a future date. Let's say I have a payment coming up. I don't want to forget about it next Friday, so I'll set the date out to go out next Friday, but I want to do it when I remember today. You can go ahead and select that. Now the funding account, it's going to pop up with a drop down of all of my accounts that I have the access to. You can either type, you can go through the list, whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use, let's see, which one am I using here? I believe it is this one right here, 7284. Now you can see we have a couple of optional boxes here. These are for remittance purposes, so when the wire gets to the recipient, if there's any additional information that you need them to have, you can enter that here. As you can see, it's pretty clearly labeled for purposes of remittance information. And then if there's any type of wire description, right? This could be something along the lines of, oh, this is for invoice 1234, or this is for tires, this is for anything, right? I'm gonna leave those blank. And then down here we can see, who am I sending it from? I'm sending it from my account, which is test. And it has my information there, my address, what have you. So I'm going to go ahead and hit next, which is going to take me to my review and submit screen. So here I'm reviewing all the details of the wire. I'm sending that $1,000. It's a domestic wire because it's going to a bank within the United States. When am I submitting that? The funding account, let's say I have a few different ones, just want to be clear which ones I'm sending it from. I left these two boxes blank, so there's nothing there. And then who I'm sending it to. I'm sending it to John Doe at their Tab Bank account, 123456789, and I'm sending it again. This is coming from me. Here's where you would see your business's name there. Now, this little toggle down here, let's say this is something, this is a wire that I want to send quite often. I can go ahead and I can hit save this as a wire template, and then I can name that template. So that if I want to, come back in here and just click one button and process a wire next week for a different amount, I can do that. You can see here actually, a cool feature is I can lock certain aspects of this so that, hey, I want to use the template, but I don't want to change the amount. I don't want to change the sender's name. I don't want to change the sender's country. I don't want to change the funding account. You can lock any of these so that next time you use the template, or maybe another user of your business uses that template, they can't change anything. You can leave them open so that they can, and it just saves kind of that banking information, whatever you prefer, whatever's going to work best for you. So I'm not going to save it as a template. I'm just going to submit my wire transfer. Now, my profile here, because I'm a one-man show, I have the ability to create a wire as well as to approve the wire. So because I have that access, it's going to automatically pop up and it's going to say approve. Now let's say that you want to add some dual controls. You want to have an office manager be able to submit a wire, but you want to be the one that approves it. They wouldn't get this option. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to approve it. I'm going to notify the approvers. And because I'm a one-man show, I don't have enough approvers here. So I'll go ahead and just close this and show you what it will look like anyways, because I'm going to be the one that goes in and approves it. So after you submit that wire, it's going to go to an approval status. And let's say, your approver logs in, they're going to get taken to the main page. So we're just going to come back to that payments and transfers. We're going to go to wire activity. Here I can see that wire and it says right here, one wire that needs approval. So I'm going to select that. It's going to pop up down here with approve. I'm going to hit approve, and I'm going to hit approve wire. Now I can see that it's showing the status as approved. At the end of the day, after that wire goes out, you would see the status as processed. So, and that is how you process a wire in online banking. Today, I'm going to show you how to process an ACH payment in our online banking portal. So when we get logged in, we're going to be taken to our overview page. Here's where we're going to see all of the accounts that we have access to. As you can see here with all of my test information, I have a bunch of dummy numbers for the purposes of this demonstration. So this is our landing page. To process an ACH, we're going to come to this payments and transfers, and we're going to go to new ACH payment. I'm going to be prompted with this workflow here. Might just take a second to load up. Try that one more time. New ACH payment. There we go. Really quickly, before we get to there, if I ever end up on this page, I could simply click this ACH payment and a new ACH payment. So a couple different ways to get there. So this is our payment portal, payment walkthrough. What would you like to do? I'd like to send a payment or I'd like to collect a payment, whether you're crediting whoever you're sending to or debiting, should you have that proper authorization and access. We're going to go ahead and send that payment. And then who would I like to pay? Am I paying a consumer, an individual, or am I paying a business? I'm going to pay an individual here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit next. Here I can, if I have recipients in here created already that I've saved, I could simply type them in, or I can add a recipient. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to click this add recipients. One thing I want to touch on is this import recipient. It's a really handy tool. Let's say you have a list of a bunch of different recipients in a certain file format. You can import that here and it can load up and you can then have all of your recipients there and just simply go in and put the amounts you want to send. So I'm going to add a recipient here. I'm going to enter their name. Let's say John Doe, not his brother Joe. If there's a contact ID, this is kind of just for the purposes of sending them. It's not a field that's used all that often. That's why it is optional. But if there was a different contact, I typically see this used a little bit more in business banking and sending to a business as opposed to sending to an individual. So for example, if I was sending this to another company XYZ Inc., and they had a contact there that's the office manager, and I wanted to list that contact ID, their name, I could do that there. The account type here, am I sending to a checkings, a savings, or a loan? Maybe you're making a loan payment. I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm sending it to a checking account. Account number I'm going to use is 123456789. Routing number, I cannot use just a generic routing number, even for the purposes of this demonstration, because our system's going to only accept a valid routing number. So I'm going to paste in here Tap Bank's routing number because I know that's a valid routing number. And then I'm going to enter the amount that I want to send this recipient. Let's say I'm sending them $1,000. Now, I can just save it. I can hit save and add another. One piece here before I move on is this add addenda. This is an optional field. Essentially, this is where you could add different kind of remittance information that would be delivered to the receiving institution that might help them deliver the payment, things along those lines. So optional field, so I'm not going to use it. So I'm just going to save it. And now I can see that I have my recipient here that's within the bounds of my payment here. If I had more individuals to pay, I can do that just simply adding the recipients. You can add as many as NACHA will allow. We do follow NACHA guidelines, right? So you can add as many recipients as you need to get that payment sent out. You can also add that addenda here as well. So I'm going to say I'm just going to send this one payment. You'll notice here, let's say that you're processing this payment to John and you think, oh man, I need to send a payment also to his brother, Joe. You can hit this finish later and come back in and continue editing it later. Let's say you don't have the information you need on hand. We offer the ability to save it. You'll see that it'll say provide a name so that you know how to find it later. I am going to just hit next. So here it's asking me for the account that I want to send that payment out of. So if I select this funding account, I can either start typing the account number or it'll bring up this drop down of the different accounts that I have access to. I'm going to find my 7284 that I want to send out of. Company ID, this is essentially a unique ID to you being the sender of the payment. It defaults to your tax ID of the business that's already in the system. As you can see here, for test purposes, that's just a bunch of zeros. But in theory, this is just essentially an identifier for you sending the payment. You can list this to be whatever you'd really like. So for this purpose, I'll just leave it at tax ID. Now it's going to default to my company name, which is test. And then I have this memo line here. Again, I can add a memo. This is a little bit more just for my reference. Let's say I want to know that I sent this payment to John for, a haircut. That's an expensive haircut. But I can really just list whatever here so that if I'm ever referencing back to that payment, I can say, oh yeah, I remember now. So this last piece here is frequency. I can set this payment up as a single payment, just a one-time payment. I can set up to recur. I can set it up for occasional. There's a few differences in that occasional, really it doesn't have you select a specific cadence, whereas recurring is specific cadence. I want to set this up to go out every Friday or once a month on this date of the month, things along those lines. I'm just going to leave it as single. Now here, when am I sending this payment? I want this payment to go out tomorrow. So I will set that for tomorrow. And then if I have the ability to, if I have the access and I want to do a same day payment, depending, we have different cutoff times for that, but I can select that same day payment if I wanted it to go out today. I'm going to have it set for a delivery of tomorrow. So we'll just go ahead and hit next. It's going to ask me for a payment name. I'm just going to name this John Smith because that's who I'm paying. And then a payment description, again, haircut type of thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit submit payment. And then you'll notice, similar to if you're familiar with our wire demonstration, it's going to pop up and ask me to approve this payment. I've now submitted the payment. However, it's a two-step process: submission and then approval. Since I run a one-man show here with my company Test, I have the ability to submit payments as well as to approve them. But let's say I wanted to have some kind of dual approval in place for my own security. I could set my office manager up as a user and set them up to be approver or vice versa. I want them to have the ability to submit a payment, but I want to go in as the focus user, the primary owner of the business, and I want to be the one that approves everything going out the door.